What's up, buddy?
How are you, sir?
Good, good. How about you?
Good, good. Check out here. I made some progress on that fire pit patio.
Yeah, let's check it out.
There you
Wow.
go. Yeah, we're putting slate on the fire pit itself. We've got
Hold
tables.
on.
We're building.
Let me get to the big picture. Oh, yeah, that looks good, man.
It's getting there. And then we have to tear down the trampoline and lay sod and all that good shit. But we're getting there. We're
Cool.
getting there. Making progress. Making progress. So we are supposed to have a guest on the show today. I understand from Meta Intro.
Yeah, Lacey Kaelani, I
All
believe
right,
is how you say it. Remember we met her, one of her associates at Quantum,
I do.
Alexander.
Yep.
Yeah, good guy, super nice guy. I think they did a big funding round with I think Polygon's in there, and actually, Drew Adventures is in there, and a couple other ones. So
Cool.
it's HR stuff, Web3 resume wallets. But they got a big Discord channel, I think, that has lots of Web3 job openings. She's from an HR background, so it should be interesting because I remember working with some guys at IBM a few years ago about learning credentialing networks and essentially, the LinkedIn problem, obviously, with all
Right.
the false credentials and everything. And I lost touch with those guys. I don't know where that went. It seemed like they were kind of, you know, going the wrong way in my mind, too complicated. And she seems to have like cracked it. So it should be
Awesome.
an interesting chat. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, let's hope she gets the link and joins us. We'll see what happens. Um, in the meantime, Eamon called our attention to in the Telegram chat. Everybody should join the Telegram chat. It's t.me forward slash mission DeFi, t.me forward slash mission DeFi. If you're not in there yet, get in there now. We're having great chats, great conversations going on over there. Lots of good alpha and information and opinions and thoughts and project ideas to invest in, all kinds of stuff. Nothing in there is obviously financial advice, but we certainly encourage you to come in and give your thoughts and opinions on what we're doing. Anyway, Eamon pointed out that the podcast, The Chopping Block, was talking about Canto over the weekend. That's one of the Unchained family of podcasts. I guess they do it every couple of weeks or whatever. So I gave the show a listen, the Canto piece of the show a listen, and I actually like these guys normally, Tarun and Hasib and a couple of other guys that are on there regularly. And so I tried to approach it from the perspective of, okay, I'm gonna try to be unbiased in my assessment of their views, but what? So first of all, they spent 20 minutes, and I'll post a link in the show notes to their podcast. But they spent 20 minutes on Canto, and it's obvious from listening to all of them that none of them understand what the CSR, the contract revenue thing piece is about. And they don't understand how it functions. But during the course of the show, they ended up saying, literally, without they didn't say Canto is communist, but they said Canto reminds me of the old USSR, right? So I'm like, already they're like off track. They said that because Canto was going to reward projects that post themselves to the Canto blockchain without charging a fee, that they were somehow going to stop all competition on the chain for the core products that they have, which is the DEX and the lending protocol, and that doing the subsidy to people who post projects without fees to the network is going to prevent anything else from getting done, and that it's going to cause all kinds of economic problems. They couldn't delineate any of it, and they don't address at all the fact that there's plenty of room for competition in this network. If you want your revenue stream to come from a token and charging fees, and you can create a better platform than somebody else has on the network, launch it. It's a market. You're welcome to do that. Nobody's stopping anyone from charging fees. Nobody's stopping anyone from creating a token, launching NFTs, whatever you want. It just really felt like the whole show was them just not liking that it wasn't Ethereum, right? That just really felt like what it was about. The other stupid thing they said was, first, they said how horrible it was that the lending protocol was a fork of Compound version 2 because Compound version 2 sucks. But then they went on to say that no one will launch a lending protocol on Canto because Canto has its own lending protocol built into the core of the blockchain. It's just, it was just silly. I'll let everyone else go read it. I mean, watch it if you want to and digest it. But it was obvious these guys didn't understand how CSR worked. They didn't understand the ethos or idea behind the platform, and they had no like solid criticism of it. I started this morning to piece together a commentary in their video, but haven't had time to finish it. If I have time, I'll go back to it and post it. But it's just rambling silliness. I think it just pisses them off that there's a chain that's doing 500%, is up 500%, and they didn't get in early. I don't know. Anyway,
but we know somebody who did get in early.
That's right. We sure did.
So you might want to disclose that.
I disclose it all the time. I'll disclose it.
No, I mean, if there's any new listeners.
Yes, any new listeners. I am staking and stacking Canto. I got some airdrop and I put a little tiny bit of money in there. None of this is going to make me rich unless Canto gets to, $1,000 a Canto, something like that. Then we're good. Then we're happy pace.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Sean says, Canto, the USSR system versus ETH, the Russian oligarch system. Very interesting. You know what? I was just disappointed because I know these guys are intelligent. I think it pisses them off. They're all VCs. I think it pisses them off that Canto didn't take any VC money. I think that part of it pisses them off, and that they tout that as the ethos, that there's no scumbag VCs in the protocol, all that good shit. So, look, at the end of the day, it's just going to drive more people to check it out. But if you have a platform like that, you have that many listeners, I would encourage you to actually do some more research instead of just blatantly speaking out about something that you obviously haven't even taken the time to research thoroughly. So that's it.
Yeah, maybe it was a rant of some kind.
It was a rant. It's mainly Hasib and Tarun going off the entire time. And they're it was just sad to watch because they obviously haven't done the research into it.
Here we go.
20 minutes of their time ranting aimlessly. So anyway, okay, let's see. While we're waiting to see if she's going to make it. There she is. Go. Awesome. Let me stop sharing screen and we'll bring Lacey in. Hello, Lacey.
Hi.
How are you today?
Hi, Lacey.
Good. Good morning. Good evening.
Good morning. Or good afternoon for us.
I know. Where's everybody?
Good morning to you. Yeah. You must be West Coast.
Good morning. Yes, I am.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. What was the guy's name we met on your
Alexander.
Team? Alexander.
Yeah.
Great guy. Really was out there representing you guys effectively, and it was really nice to meet him. We ran into him at the media room and when we were setting up our show, and we're excited to have you on to tell us kind of what you're doing and what you guys are building. But first, if you could kind of introduce yourself to us, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you ended up in this world, and then tell us about the project and what you guys are building.
Sure. Yeah. So two-time startup founder. First startup was in the HR space, which led to building this startup. All of that's to say, background is also in HR. I was in recruiting within the media and entertainment space for pretty much my entire career, which led to building the first startup. Attempted to build a product that solved for a problem that I was super passionate about at the time. Venture backed, eventually sold, and then naturally said, well, can't go work a 9 to 5. So what's next?
What's next? What are we going to build next?
I'm like pounding my head against the wall. I'm talking to my co-founder about it. We're like, what's a problem that we feel super passionate about? What are we experts in? What's the future of it? And I remember very vaguely that he had sent me an article to one of Matt Ball's first essays on the metaverse. If you've ever had an opportunity to read through that set of articles, and that was kind of the catalyst into building what we are now.
And what is it that you're building now?
Yeah. Meta Intro, we're a professional resume wallet for Web3. It's a multi-chain custodial wallet that holds all of the things that you put in your resume, your proof of employment, proof of skill, proof of education. And it interacts as a browser extension with job applications. So instead of having to upload your PDF resume to, let's say, like a Lever, a Workday, whatever that may be, instead you connect your Meta Intro wallet. And adjacent to the product, we want to run a fancy schmancy Discord. We have at the peak, 3,000 to 4,000 jobs posted in the Web3 space a month in that community, which is what most people online know us for.
Nice. Okay, so you started. Obviously, that's great. You've got a channel of jobs coming in for Web3,
Yeah.
and then you're facilitating it, making it easy for me if I want to go find the job offer, a job that's open, and say I want to apply for it, and then I can connect my Meta Intro wallet, which I've loaded my resume, my educational background, etc., and then it will submit it to them for me automatically, which means I don't have to do all those silly forms. I don't have to do the resume parsing thing where you upload it, you hope their system gets it right. I mean, it's been a long time since I applied for jobs, so I assume the systems have gotten better, but I doubt it. But I do remember what a nightmare it was, like going through the process of submitting. So you guys have solved that problem. Connect the wallet and say, hey, I want to submit this stuff. In terms of the system itself, is this something where I'm uploading the resume? Are you guys later going to kind of connect in things like validating educational background and being able to say, hey, he's done this? Are you going to do that as well with like certifications, that kind of thing? Cool.
Absolutely.
So is your plan then, are you going to be connecting with providers of those things? Or how do you make that happen for you all? It sounds like a really big job.
It is a really big job. It's a big mountain to be climbing, but ambitious people and with Web3 tech, there's a lot of things that we can make happen that we wouldn't have been able to make happen with Web2 tech. And really, fundamentally, at the end of the day, what we're doing is allowing you to take all of your on-chain credentials. And if you're a job seeker in the Web3 space, even if you're an issuer and an employer, people have credentials everywhere. And right now, there's not an efficient way of taking all of those credentials and turning around to an employer and saying, hey, this is what I've done. Here are the badges I got from Rabbit Hole, from Build Space, from MIT. Here's my education. Here's my diploma, if you will. So we're at the end of the day building an infrastructure tool that connects on-chain credentials to the job, if you will, that's being posted. But in terms of how we do that, we have a few ways. So first and foremost is allowing traditional authorizers to send on-chain credentials to an individual. So let's say Google wants to send a proof of employment badge to employee's wallet then receives it, then can use that and customize that however they want within their wallet to then apply to the job. Second way, which is what we raised capital for, which we're still in the midst of noodling about how we're officially going to build it and scale it, is building out a validator network. And this validator network decides on a pass-fail system whether or not data sent into this network is true or false. Kind of like a KYC, if you will, for your resume. So right now we're at the drawing board. We're trying to figure out how we're going to build it and then how we're going to onboard people into that system and then how a token can, make that system go, if you will. So that's what we're working on this month, for the next few months.
Sounds like a
every day is different.
Sounds like a complex problem to tackle.
It is.
And right now, for the experience for the user, is this something where every job opening that's coming into your current job board is also aligned with using the Meta Intro thing, or are you guys just submitting info to them?
Yeah, as of today, you can apply anyway to the jobs that are posted in our community. But what you will see soon is a channel within our Discord that only takes Meta Intro wallets. So job poster comes in, hey, the only way to apply to this is with your wallet.
Nice, very nice. And are you guys out like pitching employers now and saying, hey, come connect with us. We've got all these great people. How are you doing that? And from an outreach, is it just you and your partner right now, or?
We're a team of 7.
Nice.
7. Yeah, just think about that. We've grown exponentially over the past 2.5, 3 months. But right now, in terms of the job seeker or job posters that come into our community, some have come out of relationships, but a lot of people come in through referrals, which is an amazing, amazing thing to be able to see that job posters have come in, have successfully hired within our community, and are telling their other friends that are in recruitment and HR saying, hey, here's another free source to be able to post your job. Because right now, if you've ever posted a job in the Web3 space, it can get expensive. Some of these other job boards will charge you. Like I saw one the other day that charges you $700 to post a job, which is such a Web2 model. Yeah, it's expensive. And it's just using it's literally it's just a job board.
Yeah, exactly.
Using the same, it's nothing innovative, and they're charging. So all that's to say, we don't charge in our Discord as of today.
That's good. So from the perspective of the revenue model for you as a company, and then for the people that are partaking in the system, I assume with the idea of validators that's part of the model, is that there will be validators who are assessing to like assessing to blocks, but assessing to identities that this stuff is real. And then when they do, is there going to be some kind of reward system for the validators? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll have a whole system, but right now our business model is based on transaction fees. So every time a job is minted, sorry, I realized my charger is unattached.
It's quite all right.
Yeah. Wouldn't be Monday without it. Right now it's based on transaction fees. So every time a badge, a skill badge is what we're calling it, is minted, we take a very, very small transaction fee.
Okay. And then this is built on Near
and Polygon.
Okay. Awesome.
As of today. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And is this a browser plugin wallet like MetaMask? Is that the idea? Okay.
Cool. So very much like MetaMask, the only difference within the viewer, if you will, is that it feels and looks like a resume. So you can organize your credentials based on the sections. So you have your education section, your skills section, your work experience section, and maybe one day you'll be able to customize it just like you would customize a resume to make it stand out.
Right. I could see adding a functionality that lets you do portfolio type things, like if you're a designer, a developer, you can have your GitHub links or links to your design portfolio, that kind of thing.
I can see my CTO listening to this right now going, Lacey, stop.
Oh, if you want to keep your CTO busy, I can certainly crank out the ideas. No problem. Yeah. Is the goal for this? I mean, obviously, I think it makes sense to go after the job market first from a very narrow, or not very narrow. It's a big market, but from a narrow perspective, do you expect that as you all grow this? I mean, the natural extension of this then is all kinds of other identity problems to solve, right?
Sure.
You can solve the KYC problem. You can implement any other kinds of identity issues, logging into social forums, logging into chat groups, whatever. I see all kinds of other opportunities from that perspective. Is that kind of your longer term plan of, hey, we're going to start here with this core base, get people into it, and then we build and grow and add functionality on from there?
No, I see us doing not at all. I see us doing one thing very well for the entirety of our product. And that one thing is eliminating the PDF resume. I want to build a product and that hopefully one day, the next generation of job seekers don't know what a PDF resume is. They only know what a wallet is. Nice. And so for us, long term, for whatever this path, this journey that we're going on, it will be all related to the resume.
Okay. And the wallet itself, is it capable of handling like actual tokens as well? Or is it?
Yeah, we've thought about that. We've thought eventually is it going to take in your payroll? That
was where I was headed next.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think we need to raise a larger round in order to be able to do that. If you've ever built
that's a big
a DeFi product, you're going to need a pretty penny for that. So.
Well, I mean, I could see you integrating with things like streaming payment services like Llama Pay, one of those, but that I think that's first and foremost going to be in the initial term for contractor level positions, or community level positions in Web3. But I can certainly see that being, I will tell you that one of the huge problems that's happening right now in DeFi is that projects are putting out requests for developers, and there's this constant con happening from other countries where developers are claiming to be developers or pretending to be developers, or they may even be developers, but they're trying to basically trying to be able to maliciously influence the contracts being developed. And so I can certainly see that something like this could really hit a strong niche on the dev side for past building experience, location-based experience, right? Like, so proving where you live is not North Korea is basically what I would say. And so I think, I certainly think there's a big market for that. Absolutely.
Have you had that happen to you yet?
Have not had that happen to me, but I have seen it over and over and over again. Like if it's not me to tell you how to run your business, but if I were in your shoes right now, I'd be going hardcore after founders at projects in DeFi and helping them on the dev search, because it's fraught with fake resumes, fake LinkedIn profiles, fake location information, all people trying to con and get and be developers on projects to cause harm.
Absolutely.
So definitely think there's a big opportunity. Yeah. Seeing it over and over and over again. So Euphoric said it'd be helpful if you could validate contracts you've developed to your resume. It'd be useful for people looking. Here's another example, right? Actual proof of having written the smart contracts is great.
Yeah.
Chuck says,
I think we're going to
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I think we'll definitely be doing that with Near and Polygon, starting with that. And I think as we grow and we see where the skills are, we'll accommodate.
That's awesome. Chuck says, definitely need to add in the ability for recruiters or HR execs to pay/incentivize participants to take interviews. Oh, that's interesting. I like that idea. And then it said, add recruiters into the reputation network for sure. So yeah, is that something that is this a tool that recruiters can also use that are what we used to call headhunters in the space, that are third party as opposed to the corporations, so they can post their jobs here and recruit that way?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about if there's a way that the entire network can be incentivized to use this tool. Recruiters being financially incentivized to use it, job seekers getting, like what he's alluding to, job seekers getting paid, every time they apply to a job, incentivizing them to go out into the ecosystem and find these opportunities, and employers. So, who knows, maybe a token one day will be able to make that whole network happen.
Yeah, I could see that too on the referral side, right? I mean, employers will often pay existing employees or people outside a cut of the recruitment fee for referring candidates in. And if you've got that infrastructure, you've got the ability to track it. So that's a cool concept. That's great. So currently today you are here. What's kind of the next phase of where you guys are going with this? I mean, what are you working on now to add to it? Or is it right now really you're focused on, hey, how do we build the systems that we want for the future? I know that's a lot of work. And even though you've grown a lot to 7 people, that's still a lot of work for 7 people. So kind of what's next for you all?
Yeah, our heads are down building right now. Right.
Good.
As everybody's saying, it's a builder's market. We need to be focused on building a product that can help the next wave of individuals come into the space.
Sure.
And for us right now, it's getting small groups of beta testers into our product and iterating. And so I foresee like the next 6 months, it being quiet in that sense, where we're just building a product that we're wholeheartedly convinced works and is scalable.
Great. That's great. Well, look, I think it has a ton of potential and it's a ripe market. Obviously your background in this space is why you're doing it, because you know how big it could be. And this could solve a huge amount of problems for people. So I think it's really great. Joe, did you have any questions?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just letting you go for a while. So you got tired.
Let me ramble on.
I did some work with IBM a couple of years ago, and their learning credentialing management networks. And everybody talks about LinkedIn, and just as Brad was saying, how much of it is just all puffery. And I didn't really, they were kind of looking at it. I think they were building in Hyperledger, but they were just looking at it. It was just so slow to get it to anywhere. So I'm really impressed by the fact that, you've jumped out and, kind of have solved a lot of the problems, or will be solving a lot of the problems that I don't think they could solve. And I'm wondering, is that something to do with being deployed on Near first? Has that given you any unique capability? Because we all know Near, but we haven't really done much with it. We know Polygon really well, of course, but Near is kind of one of those chains that we see is kind of in the next maybe cycle being much bigger. And so I'm kind of curious, were there unique things there for you, or what did you see at Near that, other than, them providing part of the funding, but what did you see there that really attracted you?
Yeah, their grant foundation is wonderful. Their team is great. I think honestly, when we were going out saying, how are we going to bootstrap this? Where are we going to get our first round of capital on? Looking at the chains and saying who has the best grant foundation, but secondly, who has the best communities and what communities are growing at a rapid pace. And alongside Polygon, which we're building on Near, we felt the same way about. There are other great chains that we had, we thought about. Harmony is also great, but also what chain will be here for the long run? Because what if we build a product on a chain that's only here for the next few years that doesn't scale? And so that was also a big question next to the funding. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and Near has it's pretty deep with A16Z and all the other groups in there too. So probably follow-on rounds, getting into those communities, getting them to be user adopters of your product. I think that's all important, and I think that's, like we said, I think that's kind of one that, Brad had some experience with Near with another project in the past, but it was about a couple of years ago. So it was one of those where everything was great, as far as who's backing it and this and that, but there were so many other people jumping out ahead of them, in 21 as far as deploying. And then we saw one of the Near guys at at that NFT conference, or no, it was the one Brad decentralized or
Decentral in Miami. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was it was a technical guy just kind of going through, I think, sharding or whatever up on the stage, and there wasn't a lot of energy. But we were both talking how, they have so much in there that makes sense in Near. And it didn't seem like they were, putting out product guys. They were putting out, engineers. So I'm kind of curious as to, did you feel that it was the heavy lift tech side of the platform, again, beyond the grants and all of that, or do you really see a big differentiation there on product vis-a-vis, say, Polygon or Phantom or ETH or any of those?
It's again, it's the community for
Got
us.
It.
But we also look at it like, okay, we have Near developers coming through our community Near's issuing badges, for instance.
Oh,
how many and that's proof of skill badges, right? How many products are also building on Near that need Near developers? And it's taking that connection between the two. And so there's a ton of people building on Polygon, for instance, of course. And so how many of those projects at scale need Polygon developers? And so, we're looking at these chains like in this capacity is how fast are they growing and how fast do they need to hire and, all that.
Well, and I think
that's a good point. Good point.
With Polygon, you get the Ethereum community for the most part. And so you also get the speed and performance that you get from Polygon. And, in terms of the connections at Polygon, Polygon are masters of biz dev. And so they're bringing in a lot of TradFi Web 2 folks into blockchain. And so that's a nice gateway for you all. As these projects as these companies that are coming into the space are trying to build, they need developers, whatever, you all can provide a gateway for them as well to talent if you build up your talent pool well. So that's great.
Yeah, very cool.
That's awesome. Well, anything else we should know about Meta Intro?
Follow us on metaintro.com and Twitter.
Cool.
We're all there. We're on TikTok, YouTube, the whole shebang.
Are you guys, first of all, are you hiring right now? And are there roles for people in the community?
Yes. Dozens and dozens of roles are posted every single day in the community, from technical to non-technical roles. So definitely check it out if you are a job seeker. On the personal side for Meta Intro, we are always hiring, which is a funny thing to be going through as a company in the hiring space.
Talk about eating your own dog food.
Wow. Our first wave of hiring, in all honesty, was very hard, because if only we had a meta intro wallet to reduce
do
our
it.
time to hire. Yeah,
And now
sadly,
you
the
do.
last round of hiring we'll have to do without the wallets. But
That's
we're always
good.
looking for talented individuals. So if you're passionate about the future of work and building within the Web3 space, we want to hear from you. So reach out to us
Perfect.
at, metaintro.com.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so
Very
much
cool.
for coming on, Lacey. It was
Thank you
really
for
great to have
having
you
me.
here. We'll look forward to
appreciate it.
catching up with you later this year to see how things are going.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, she's impressive.
Yeah.
I saw some media on her, like in the Forbes 30 under 30 list, and a couple of other, top, kind of top 10 Web3 builder type profiles.
You're
I
on
mean,
that-
when you do an exit,
You're on that list, right? That 30. You're on that.
well,
30
no, I'm in the
under 30.
under 39. That's me.
Oh,
under 39.
that's right. That's right. I forgot.
I'm in
I forgot you were
the
over
40
30 now.
under 40. It reminds me of that Entourage episode with, I don't know if you ever watched that show, the HBO one.
I think I watched bits and pieces of it years ago, but I don't remember.
Well, the super agent guy, Ari, he's, they're basically busting him at some 40 under 40 thing when they're like verifying his credentials. They're like, dude, you're 40. He's like, so they all had to leave. But, I love the credentialing management space because, we see it obviously you see it in Twitter, you see it in LinkedIn. And when you were telling the story earlier, I remember when I worked for this ERP implementation company back in the day, and we were doing a lot of PeopleSoft implementation, and PeopleSoft, developers they weren't really developers, but they were ones who understood the product and how to implement it, kind of more systems integrator types.
Right.
You get all these. They wanted back then like $200 an hour, wouldn't travel, and this is before smartphone ubiquitous and all of that. But you get all these resumes from people that were the ones that were there on the job site when it was like, okay, take the legacy data and enter it into the PeopleSoft system. And so these people were just reading off lists and typing in stuff, and they'd be turning in resumes like they were, IT specialists or developer types or systems integrators. And everybody was so desperate to find that skill set that it was very hard to figure out it was BS because, there weren't Zooms and things like that. It was, just phone calls and, and then flying them in for interviews.
Right.
And, so you wasted a lot of money on that. So I think that, we've all wanted that to get better. And I'm glad to see, I think focusing in on Web3 jobs is interesting because so much of it for developers is badges and things like that.
Well, I would drop, frankly, look, I know they're trying to get ready for scaling later and all that good stuff. I would fucking drop everything and focus on developers and maybe community leads and growth in Web3 and partner up with as many protocols as I could right now. I want their job listings, and then I would build specifically, show me your dev, show me your community leadership experience. And I want to verify that with Discord data. I want to verify that with smart contracts deployed, and I want to verify your location because that is a pain point right now in the space. It is, that's the kind of thing that gets you traction to test your model. I would go so hardcore after that right now. I'm not running her business, and that may not be her target market, but to me, it makes complete sense. So we'll see. Well,
like you said, it also fits into digital identity. When you have the Web3 resume wallet that can also hold tokens, then you get into some other interesting things that, the source of funds kind of stuff and, the KYC AML stuff, just like you would do for, credentials. But I think that also, you got to get, a lot of I don't know how many, there's probably education credentials in there too, beyond badges and, programs and things around specific languages. I guess you'd have to verify if someone had, a degree from MIT, let's say. Right. So you'd have to be able to have relationships with, those schools somehow, or have them in there, or maybe the output from when someone graduated, it was an automatic feed into that meta intro system where it was verifying their credentials, or at least the education components of it. Right. But, once you're in some place like MIT, then place of birth is all that's already figured out. The other education components are already figured out. The real person is definitely figured out. So there's a lot of stuff that comes out of there already. But, I think most, like right now, badges and things like that makes total sense.
Well,
just
look,
to streamline it.
I could see you, setting up a validation that just comes from project founders and founding teams of projects, right? And it says, yes, these people worked on our project and they did X, and here's a pointer to the smart contract code that they developed, right? Here's the GitHub, shows you what they did, right? Because that alone is worth a fortune right now. And they could bring in, it doesn't sound like they need the revenue because they're running off the raised money, but there's all kinds of token models that can come from that. And then you can go out to Web2 and TradFi and everybody else and say, look, we already work. This is working. We're validating. We're making this world safer. We're helping them screen candidates so they don't waste their time on hackers. I think it's a big opportunity, and things like performance from community leads, growth people. It's like, okay, how do you find the right growth person? How do you find the right community lead people, right? Sometimes you hire them from within the community, but other times you may want people that have at least some experience doing that, or biz dev. So how do you validate it? You go back to the founder of the project and you say, they said they did this, this, and this. Can you verify that, right? So the founder has a meta intro wallet that verifies and validates whatever, and there's some incentive for participating. And building a pool of people. Anyway,
that's kind of interesting because you're right. When you then call that other employer to validate what the roles were, say in the community or as a developer, at the same time you have an opportunity to pitch meta intro and get that company or that protocol in there. When they start figuring out what you're doing, how much money you're going to save them from having to screen everybody properly. Then you already have them on the phone. You can close them pretty easily at that, or you already engaged with them, so you can close them pretty easily.
Exactly.
And bring in the protocols like you're talking about. So, it'd be interesting to see. I think what you're saying, to your point, if let's say the people that are posting, looking for jobs, you scour through those to find the ones that did roles at the giant protocols, where there's thousands of people. And those are the ones that you go to and prioritize those. Hey, this is Steve at wherever or Susie at wherever. And, all of a sudden, then they're going to go, oh, wow, this makes sense. How do I get in on this?
Right.
Not the little ones are great too, but why not, like you said in the show, go for the big ones?
Well, and you could build the database, right? So you go to the GitHub for Alchemix and you find all the commits. And you find out the usernames of the people that committed. Now you have the developers. They may be core team members. They may not be core team members. And if they're not, that's somebody that you could recruit into using meta intro, right? And now you have already some level of validated data of the code that they did getting committed into the project, right? So, and I don't know how much you can get out of GitHub from that, but there's certainly an opportunity, I think, there to reach out and talk to people and say, hey, I see you were verified having done this code. Join Meta Intro. We have these jobs postings available. I mean, anyway, I think there's an opportunity there in this space to prove themselves, build out their functionality, build out their model, but also have an incoming revenue stream, right? And then this whole other idea, recruitment in DeFi is just as difficult as recruitment in the corporate world. So there's all kinds of projects that would love to incentivize getting high quality people in, right? So maybe Meta Intro is the introducer. Maybe Meta Intro community members can bring in people, and refer them and make money on it. I don't know. Maybe there's a model that everybody that Meta Intro brings in gets paid via streaming tokens, and Meta Intro gets 0.05% of that salary for as long as that person works there. I don't know. But there's all kinds of integrations that could happen here that could have, pretty impactful.
What was because I remember when we were using headhunters back in the day, weren't we? I mean, how much was it? 3 months salary, or
it's usually I think it can range anywhere from 25% to 50% of first year salary.
Yeah. So if you're taking a smaller transaction fee, but it's streamed and it's ongoing for, the whole duration, it doesn't cut off that first year. I still think that the people doing the hiring are going to come out way ahead.
Exactly.
Way ahead. So, all the incentives are aligned then.
Yeah, absolutely. They don't have to put out the big upfront money. It's just a stream amount that they stream to your wallet based how long that person's been there. And then after that person discontinues the contract or whatever, then they stop the flow, right? But and within the Meta intro infrastructure, they could have validation of that, right? Because you'll know whether they're getting paid or not, and you can verify with the employee whether they're still getting paid or not. So I think it solves a lot of the recruiting problems in at least in the blockchain space. So I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think it's got compelling opportunities.
Well, when you throw the verification part on top of that lower cost of acquisition, you also save all the time of verifying yourself. I mean, that's a home run for the hirers.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
I forgot to ask her. Well, I wanted to ask her how her experiences with Druid were, with Druid Ventures.
I don't know.
But that's.
I don't think she's going to say anything negative.
No, but I mean, because that's Charlie Schrems, and since we talked to him last week, I was kind of curious.
That's right.
What was it like how was that team there and et cetera? So, because obviously he took a big interest in her, and in Meta intro. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. I'll have to send her a message instead.
Anyway, great stuff. I think a ton of potential there. And frankly, part of my pitch to investors would have been, I'm going to solve the HR problem. Then I'm going to go solve the KYC problem and all the identity problems, right? Because once you build a base, like if you're highly successful in the recruiting and employment space, you now have a base of humans numbering in the millions or more that you can build a lot of shit off of, right? That makes everybody's lives easier.
Yeah, but I think they're probably following it's the same co-founder as the previous startup that they exited from. So they're probably following the same strategy, a very tightly focused, one goal strategy, which then lays that foundation for everybody else. So then the big acquirers come in, I can't remember all the big HR companies. I want to say the big headhunting agencies and all of that. They might come in and say, oh, we can do all this more with it because we have so much more scale. And then it becomes a nice juicy exit for them again. And then she's got 2 exits under her belt.
Exactly.
And then you go to the next one.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
But anyhow,
I'm a little annoyed.
With what?
Chinese are going to get flying cars before we do.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't get in one. Haven't seen all the buildings and stuff, and I'm not.
You mean you wouldn't
anybody.
get in a Chinese one? I got you.
Yeah. No, I would definitely. I just, great ideas, of course.
I love these. I love the drone model of these prop based things. I think these are going to be huge eventually. I think we're a long ways off in the US because the regulators are going to be freaked out. But anyway, the Chinese are permitting a company to start doing this. I think they're doing it kind of like taxi model, but I'm not sure. Shizzy said Chinese are just getting flying balloons. Cars are way off. Evidently, the Chinese have had flying balloons for a decade and a half over the U.S. So they're definitely. I guess we never thought they were much of a threat. I don't know. Anyway, so I would love to have this here. I mean, absolutely. Can you imagine in Miami how much time you'd save?
Well, look, think about from where you live and you want to go out to Fisher Island or Key Biscayne or the beach, and you can get there in 3 minutes from where you live, or it's a 45-minute drive.
Exactly.
I was talking to somebody over the weekend, and we're talking about the beach, and I say, I'm never at Miami Beach anymore. It's like from where I am, it ends up taking 45 minutes to an hour to get there with traffic and everything. I barely get north of downtown, unless I'm in a plane.
Exactly.
So, that's why everybody has boats and things around here to cut that. But I think this is where it goes next, obviously.
Yeah.
I have seen some cool tech that's dealing with, robotics, flying stuff, cars, etc. Really advanced sensor stuff that's pretty cool. I think that there is stuff coming that is, this stuff. Yeah, this stuff that I was talking about is kind of like a Tesla killer tech, basically, because it's like orders of magnitude better than what they're using for their autonomous cars. But that kind of thing can then extend to the air, obviously, in a lot of different ways. I mean, I remember the old Jetsons cartoon with the that was Johnny Quest. Sorry, Johnny Quest is what I was trying to remember. That flying thing where you would stand. It was like a kind of a jet ski, but you're in the air.
No, I want the Jetsons, man. That's what I grew up with imagining.
Or what about the what was that movie with Bruce Willis? Was it Fifth Element? When they have he's in New York and there's all those layers of cars flying around and everything. I mean,
well, think what this does with housing, right? Now, you're starting to see these buildings that are really tall and at the top are interconnected between buildings, right? And they've got parks and landscaping and stuff. Imagine now what happens if you have these things flying at that level, right? Now, you don't even have to go downstairs to get to where you're going. You just walk out, go upstairs in your elevator and hop into one of these and fly to your office, which is also land at the top and get into. So, I mean, all kinds of amazing potential for that. Anyway,
you don't have to deal with the people at all.
Exactly. No humans.
Did you see that show, Altered Carbon, on Netflix, I believe?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Remember how they're all, kind of up in the clouds? Living like the ones that are kind of immortal, and then they never go down to the ground.
The gods,
crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do they call them?
Sean,
what's Chuck say?
Chuck says, speaking from painful past DARPA experience, it's much easier to do autonomous flight than autonomous driving. We could be able to have personal airport to airport flight pretty soon. Oh, that'd be freaking awesome. That
would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. I mean, if you think about it, being able to control altitude and paths actually should be pretty easily done from an automated perspective. And it dramatically reduces probably the incidence of collision and death. So,
well, yeah, because most of the problems with it in cars is it's the people that aren't in the autonomous system.
Exactly.
People driving around.
Exactly.
So you don't have really humans flying around up there at this point.
Exactly.
Maybe a couple of balloon people or something, and a couple of Cessna pilots, but that's about it.
Exactly. Let me see if I had anything else that was of urgent nature. I have a call in 9 minutes, so I got to roll. But I saw this headline, but I get a chance to read it. Rocket Pool community voting whether to self-limit its growth. If passed, the vote establishes a guiding set of principles to inform Rocket Pool's decision-making process and limiting the percentage of staked ether in its ecosystem. Wow, that sounds very responsible and grown up. Proposal would establish a set of guiding principles, manage its trove of staked ether. Some stakers have gotten too big for Ethereum's Ogun, according to author Valdorf, who doesn't want Rocket Pool to become one of them. So essentially, they're talking about the concentrated amount of staking at Lido. Euphoric. We are trying to grow our female audience. Euphoric says, I'm looking forward to sex robots like wives with an off switch. Oh, God, dude.
It reminds me of another movie. What was that one? Robot, I think, or something like that, with where they have these and then the dad decides to reprogram it once to start having, I guess what's the point?
Oh, I remember that show. Wait, what was that show? That was a great show.
Humans. Yeah.
That was a cool show.
And then the wife finds out.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, he's like, but it was a robot. She's having none of that.
Somebody's put up an AI created candidate for the mayor of city of Miami.
Oh, wow.
I don't know all the details of it, but it's pretty cute. Arturo Intelligente.
Hey, I was messing around on Jounce.ai. It's like another writing kind of AI where you basically just put in blurbs and it writes intro paragraphs and blog posts, LinkedIn, anything you could possibly think of. And it actually works pretty well. I was surprised. I saw this somewhere. Jounce, JOUNCE.ai.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, no, I think I have one more referral code. I'll send it to you.
Oh, yeah, send over, please.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Wait,
Awesome. I'd
was
love to
this?
check it out. I'd love to check it out. Let's see what else. Anything else exciting? Oh, this is the thing I was alluding to the other day, yet earlier.
Yeah, I saw that.
This guy on 1inch that tried to execute a trade that had $200 worth of liquidity, and so he got $100 worth of token for 83,000 USDT. That's brutal.
I haven't used 1inch in a long time, but
Me neither.
you pick the trade pathway. It doesn't pick it for you. You see all the options and you pick. So,
I
I
think it
mean,
defaults to the fastest one or whatever, and that person just clicked through. They were also warned about slippage on that trade, but you know how
okay.
people are. They don't look at that shit. They just click and go. They think, oh, it's a trade. I'll go. I don't know.
Yeah.
$83,000 trade. I'd probably look at it a little more closely.
Yeah.
See what I was going to get.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw that A16Z voted against this proposal to deploy Uniswap on BNB chain. But from what I understand, the reason they voted against it with 15 million uni was that it was using the wormhole bridge. And they are investors in
Competing
Zero.
one.
Yeah. What is it? Layer Zero. And they want Layer Zero to be used. I don't know if they justified their vote based on the technology, because Wormhole was the one that was exploited on Solana for a shit ton of
Yeah.
money. So I don't know if they based that on that, their justification for it. But anyway, they are pushing their agenda for one of their portfolio companies. I haven't
Yeah,
looked
I
at this
mean,
yet. Did you look at the roadmap thing yet from the White
no, it's
House?
probably better to look at it tomorrow and we have more
Okay.
time. But yeah, no, I thought that this one too, I thought was kind of
I
interesting.
think
Yeah.
about 90%. I saw this yesterday. I think about 90% of our listening audience might need this. So you might want to become Spanish citizens. There's now a Spanish rehab center that has crypto trading addiction on their services list. So if you think you have a problem, the first step is admitting that problem. And the second step is taking whatever money you have left, flying to Spain and getting into crypto trading rehab.
You might as well throw in Twitter rehab at the same time. I
DeFi
mean,
lunch rehab.
yeah, it's like everybody needs rehab for something, or
Yeah.
crypto winter rehab. It's like,
There you go.
when you see that, I mean, half of this like crypto trading addiction is probably just everybody, riding it down. I mean, I'm always a lot happier about it when everything's going up only. That's for sure. So
What do they
yeah,
charge?
shit.
Oh, here we go. 4 week stay is 75 grand.
Involved in
Shizzy, I'm on the
therapy,
first flight
massages,
out.
and yoga.
It's just a luxury resort for 75 grand. Stop
Yeah,
trading for a week.
yeah. You
Reportedly,
could
one of the
probably
center's clients reached out so that he could wean off crypto after reportedly pouring in $200,000 worth of trades each week. Well, the question is, did he win or did he lose?
did he win? Exactly.
What the fuck are you doing in
Suspecting he
rehab?
lost.
He must have lost, or he wouldn't be in rehab. Otherwise,
Yeah.
he'd be like, I did exactly right. A
Castle Craig's
Scottish-based
rehab facility.
a Scotch-based clinic has also been trading crypto traders since 2018. Have had over 100 clients come in with dangerous cryptocurrency problems. Shizzy asked, "Do they take shit coins as payments?" That's all I have left.
Oh man.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's fucking
Oh,
hilarious.
we have a Thailand-based wellness center too. I see. Scroll back
is
up
there?
and
I
just
didn't
below
see
that
it.
castle.
Oh
Go down a little
yeah,
more. Yeah.
diamond
Uh,
rehabilitation.
Yeah. No, look. From my extent, when I was doing my .com rehab tour over there, I remember that there were like 4-hour massages. I mean, these were spa massages. I'm not talking.
Not like
Um,
happy ending massages.
Yeah. No. This was like, and it was like, I think $20 for 4 hours,
Yeah,
and I was in there like almost every day.
yeah.
And then right from there to happy hour, and then passing out early kind of thing. But when you don't have, you're not constantly looking at phones and stuff like that. You're just chilling and nobody's hassling you. You recover pretty quickly.
Yep.
I
I
don't
got
know
a
about
bolt,
the
Joe.
status. All right, dude, let's roll.
All right, everybody,
Good one.
thank you very much for listening and watching. If you like what you're seeing or hearing, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It does a lot to help us get the show out to more people. If you're listening on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe, click the little bell, and smash the thumbs up button so it boosts us in the algorithm over there. Thank you so much for listening and participating. Shizzy, Euphoric, Chuck. We appreciate Sean. We appreciate all of you being here today. And please join our Telegram group to get the latest and greatest and join in on some awesome discussions with some really brilliant people. That is t.me/mission DeFi. t.me/mission DeFi. Thanks for listening and watching. We appreciate all of y'all being here. Euphoric said priceless information as always. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah, everybody have a
Joe.
great day. All right, you too, buddy. And we'll have more just extensive DeFi talk tomorrow, all out. So
Beautiful.